Guys, we are finally back again for another one on this here BrBpTV. Be real, be positive television, brothers and sisters. Welcome, of course. I'm your boy Mr. Leaks, and we're gonna be doing this reaction right there for today. So let us get into it right there. Welcome, brothers and sisters, and of course on this here video we see none other than the well-known or famous or infamous, whichever you want to call it, Hendrika Smith right there. And of course I have to make this a mention of something very important. And somebody actually said something rather interesting. I think that should actually be the case right there, but it did not happen. And of course, this person stated that Hendrika deserves a Miss Popularity. Eyes, side smile. Yes, brothers and sisters, I did definitely agree with that, since it was Hendrika who made this whole show pretty much known across not just Dominica, but of course St. Martin as well. Because a number of persons and St. Martin individuals were literally saying they had no clue, you know, or didn't even care to go to the show. Some of them knew about the show, but they didn't even care to go about the show. And the reason why they wanted to go to the show was because it was because of the very Hendrika Smith herself. Unfortunately, she placed 4th place, which of course is last place in this competition. But of course, she should have been given the Miss Popularity. I think she should have been given this because she was the most popular one out of all of them. Miss Guyana won Miss Popularity. We don't even know who what her name is. What is her name, brothers and sisters? I don't know. But Hendrika should have definitely won this right there. However, an individual has something rather interesting that he wants to say on this matter, and this is him right there. Of course, you guys know who he is.
Hey, look come in and cry about they cheat the girl because they put her in the position where they place her. All you're talking about they cheat the girl, but remember, it's all your first that was taking kicks.
True.
All your first that go and get video circulating.
True.
All your first that was bringing down all your own.
True.
So they are all right to cheat all your own.
Yeah.
Because
if you don't treat your own well, far less for foreigners will treat you. Although sometimes foreigners tend to treat you better than your own. But it's I guess it's based off of the different types of or the vicinity of foreigners that you go in. If you go in a place that's more developed and, you know, people are looking to elevate others and not selfish, of course, if you go in these areas, you know, people will definitely try their best to help you out, especially when there are opportunities out there that can actually help you. But if you go in a place where, you know, people are not doing too well, you know, and people are constantly trying to be like crabs in a barrel, you know, that they will be like chupul for you. So I think how the Dominicans themselves treated her most likely was the reason why she probably didn't get Miss Popularity. But I think the show organizers should have looked at this and say, hey, she is actually the most popular one out of every one of them, every one of the contestants. Everybody knows her name. They probably decided they're not going to give it to her, maybe as a result of what he's saying right there. They see how Dominicans treat their own, and as a result they decided to do the same. Who knows?
all you do not no rights, no will to back up all your own in the first place. So they don't talk about they cheat. All you cheat all your own first.
Some people were even saying she was better than the person who came up third, or in the hindsight fourth position. She should have at least come out before this individual. Dominican Republic, I think they're talking about. They should have at least she should have at least come before Dominican Republic. But you know, the judge's decision is final, Papa. However, at least Hendrika has gone out with a phone, brothers and sisters. At least she has gotten a new phone right there, the A04E. This is one of the phones that I guess the Dominica Association in St. Martin gave to her. They was having a number of speech and what have you. So at least she did not leave empty-handed. I'm not sure if they give people prizes, or I did not see the show, but of course I think that she should have definitely gotten Miss Popularity right there. Anyways, guys, moving along right there, Dominica needs to shut down, purge, recalibrate, and start all over again. As a result, on May 31st 2023, I believe that there's going to be a protest action of some sort that's going to be taking place on May 31st. But I think over the weekend on around that day, there's going to be a number of things. And of course, this is why they're saying that Dominica needs to be free, brothers and sisters. And Dominica needs to be free. No, 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 no. Electoral reform is necessary I remember when OAS came down and they said that no other election should happen unless there's electoral reform. And it doesn't seem like that seems to be taking place, considering we have stuff like this. Roosevelt's carried put our... Somebody's saying, Roosevelt's carried put out the report Sir Byron gave you. You can't fool us. Stop your dirty ways now. We know the report isn't in your favor. Stop the fake crying and bobolism. That is what they're saying to the Prime Minister. If they gave you the report, Sir Dominica is not your own. You need to render to Caesar that which is Caesar's. I mean, after all, we don't learn anything. Give the people what the people deserve. Electoral reform is needed. You have gone too long without this thing, and I'm sure you decided you're taking the advice of Tony, whatever is his name, that partner, the Astafan guy. You decide to take his advice when they say electoral reform would not help you, would ruin your re-election legacy. You yourself have stated that you don't want to be running again. The people want electoral reform. You have pimped out Dominica too long to the favors of all kind of strange people. We will get into that in a moment. Come on, man. Stop your dirty ways, man. But it's rather interesting when they call for protest and this kind of things there. They're talking about May 31st. And of course, I see something there. We demand the resignation of Roosevelt Skerrit and his ministers by May 29th. An interim government to implement electoral reform according to the laws of our books, on our books, and new elections. The people want new elections. They want this. But you know what is interesting, guys? People always look to get somebody else to try to do it. Instead, they're going to do it. Look at this. Somebody is apparently, sinking, brothers and sisters. But each of them see it. But they're waiting for somebody else to come and rescue. Not them to help, They're waiting for somebody else to come and do it. Everybody know what is going on in Dominica is not a good sight at all. Especially for the future generations. It is utter chaotic when it comes down to the elevation of those in Dominica. And there's a lot of opportunities that Dominica can put in. Not opportunities, sorry. Potential. Dominica has a lot of potential that can lead to opportunities for which the younger generation can then take advantage of. But that is not being put in place. Why? Because they want to constantly continue the cycle of keeping the people down. How on earth? It is one thing when foreigners are taking advantage of the people. But when your own people are taking advantage of you, something needs to change. But of course, when it comes to protest action and these kind of things there, people will say, oh, let the others do it. They know it's true, What you're saying is true. Very true indeed. Yes, we need change. But let the others come and do the protest. I'll just wait. I'll wait like the bus drivers. Bus drivers protesting for help. And bus drivers protesting against the same bus drivers. But when the bus drivers finally got through and they got a little monies and whatnot, the very first set of people who were there were the bus drivers protesting against the bus drivers who were protesting. It's interesting when it comes down to how human cognition works. We're always looking at what others should do, not what we should do. This person is in need of help. The others will help. Let me pass straight. The others need to, Dominica, you need to change and you realize your country is not going forward. You need to band together. If you don't band together, utter chaos will ensue and the people who are keeping you down will continue to keep you down. I will never forget the Prime Minister stating, oh, things are bad out there. And money is not flowing into Dominica like it should be and what have you. Brothers and sisters, our growth sectors, all of our growth sectors, except the construction sector, is being handled by foreigners. But our growth sectors are not being utilized that can actually bring money into Dominica. Agriculture, tourism service, on what is going on? I was going to speak about the American Airlines thing. Look, the Prime Minister them say about they're going to extend. Well, it's alleged that they said they're going to extend the Menville Airport. And then people wondering, well, we'll come to that in a while, brothers and sisters. We'll come to that in a while. But it's important that we take on the position, brothers and sisters. If you want things to happen, you yourself need to be there and not wait for somebody else to do it for you. Everybody want to hide. They're afraid to be victimized. But you're living in the very economy that is keeping you down. That making sense? That don't making sense. So you need to go out there. May 31st, they say. May 31st. Go out there and represent. It is your country. And they're doing new things in your own country. Dominica is full of potential. the potentials that can lead to opportunities that you yourself can take advantage of. But no, you're waiting for somebody else to do it for you. Wait still. Change go happen. No country can progress if its politics is more profitable than its own industries. I just said this a while ago, guys. Talk about the growth factors in Dominica, the growth engines, agricultural, tourism, all these things. These things are on a decline, brothers and sisters. I remember when we used to export about $120 million worth of produce. We came down to 15 million to 5 million, really? And then people coming to tell me, boy, but human beings, something else, eh? People coming to tell me we are producing more than we were doing back then, as if I cannot do research to find out the truth for myself. It's interesting. Where your debt to GDP ratio went to 106%. That has been 50% now. 106% under the leadership for which they cannot blame what was happening back then. They want to say, oh, it's UWP. They cannot blame it now. So different disasters happening all over the place. Apparently it's Dominica alone that fell in the blunt because the rest of the country is going up. St. Kitts going up, Bahamas going up, they were hit. Even Puerto Rico elevating a little. But Dominicans, it's interesting that our Prime Minister is telling us, guys, things are rough around the world. Yet still you are on your third mansion. You're on your third mansion. Building the third one. I don't know about the second one. It's alleged. It's alleged, brothers and sisters, that the second one is yours. I don't know if that is the case, but then you're paying $64,000 on a month. Per month, give boy. That is something else, we. $64,000 a month to stay in that house. You building your own mansion now. You have one previously in Vegas. It's like all you do, you don't want it. But then you coming on microphone and telling the people about fridge, not to buy ice making fridge. Go in your, have your cooler or put ice in your cooler. You telling the citizens and the people. Well, the people didn't clap that one. Their face was sour when the Prime Minister said that. Their face was sour. You tell them don't go and get the ice making fridge. I think he say about use your coolers or something, or go back to the days where you used to use salt or some kind of thing like that. The Prime Minister was telling his own people in the economy that they created for them, and they will come and support. Hey, my PM. It's not about hating the PM, brothers and sisters. It's the actions. If I see scared, they're not going to hate scared. When people want to talk about doing scared, all kind of thing, I say that doesn't. I don't even want scared to go jail. Go in jail for the citizens to then feed him the very monies that he caused the country to deplete. Doesn't make any sense to me. I want him to get back all the monies that belong to Dominica, and he can go and take a trip somewhere. Go somewhere. Yes, man, go. Doesn't make it feed you for what? I don't even think he deserves that. Because of how the country state is, brothers and sisters. We are the last in the Caribbean. I will never forget. I met an individual from Les Saints. Went there for the guy told us he was in Dominica. He went to do operation in Dominica. Now today we flying out. When they talk about HIFU in the hospital and the smart hospital, that have absolutely nothing to do with smartness. They say, oh, we have motion sensor lights in Portsmouth Hospital. We call it the smart hospital because you have solar devices on the top of it that have absolutely nothing to do with the people. Yet still they will tell the people these things. It's not about the Prime Minister, it's the actions. That is my problem, brothers and sisters. When you deplete the country of making its own independent resources on each individual basis, for individuals to be able to do things on themselves. Instead, they can't even build a house for themselves. Back in the day, people used to bring cash to bank to build their houses, big houses, marigold houses. You see the marigold houses, brothers and sisters? It's agriculture that builds big houses, you see there. The very agriculture that we should be running in Dominica, that we looking down on. And the Prime Minister will come and say, if not CBI, what else? Previous to that, Ian Douglas himself say, if not VAT, what else? VAT was on the people. How are you using VAT to elevate the people by taking from them? That is something else. Hey, anyways, brothers and sisters, no country can progress if its politics is more profitable than its industries. In a country where those in government are richer than the entrepreneurs themselves, they manufacture poverty. Dominica is one of the poorest places. It's very sad. And we are so rich in fruits and vegetation. How, did I said it correctly? How in a place where we have soil, land and water, sun, land and water, the government abandoned agriculture. Where that happening? But hey, people waiting for somebody else to say something about it. Wait still, it go happen, man. Pirates of the Caribbean are party, brothers and sisters. The kidnapping of Trotsky. By the way, I heard that Trotsky is asking, there's some situation in Antigua where the Antiguan people were trying to, Antigua Attorney General or whoever, were trying to throw out his case. And the judge say, what? No, sir, it happened. How can he then try to throw out the case? Right now, Trotsky is looking, for my understanding, to sue. And I think it's in the sum of $4-point-something million. I myself find that too small. But the interesting thing is, when Trotsky sues and he wins, and he will definitely win, whose money do you think is going to come up from? It's not going to be coming up from the Prime Minister or Attorney General, them money, no? It's going to be coming from the people's money, which I think the judge should then put a stop to that. It is those involved that should be paying. This money is not the people's money. Just like how the big the pharmaceutical companies asking for what they call that, when they kind of go after them, immunity, asking for immunity. They're doing things to people. How much people passing, all kind of things. Yes, when their family come after now is then they go into the government. The government then has to take from the people's money, not from the pharmaceutical companies' money, you know. They're shielding them, brothers and sisters. We should stop shielding people. And if people know they are not shielded, they will stop their dirty ways. You think if we were paying the Prime Minister based off his ability to do for the people, you think the margin they will be doing that? You think it's margin they will be doing that? You perform to get paid. If you don't perform, you don't get paid. If we took on that understanding, brothers and sisters, how on earth you think the chaos and corruption that is happening across the world, even the United States as well, with the Biden family, the Hillary boy, before they come from, all these people involved in corruption, corrupt practices, brothers and sisters. Well, Trotsky come for all, you know, eh? Yes, man. Trotsky come for all you, and I know he should include Dominica too. He should, because a plane doesn't just magically come from India and come to Dominica and get clearance to land. What, we foolish? You have to be stupid to not believe that there's some sort of involvement in Dominica. You have to be very foolish for you to not believe, for you to believe that there was no involvement with Dominica. Plain rich, we luxury, plain rich. Hey, all the way from India to Dominica, land without a problem, everybody quiet. I was there, you know. I saw the plane. And then the police reached me and tell me not to film. As the police, who are you talking to? I put the plane on the video. How you can tell me not to film? But hey, anyways, brothers and sisters, let's continue. Right there, one who causes others misfortune also teaches them wisdom. Interesting. One who causes others misfortune also teaches them wisdom. But the question I must ask, guys, is do we learn from what people have done to us? Especially during election time. Ross left. Ross is Dominican, you know, guys. Ross left to go overseas, and the people of Portsmouth still voted for the very ones who caused Ross to leave. Ross did not want to leave. How do I know this? I was in contact with them. They did not want to leave. If talking to the professors, they will have meetings, all kind of things. Boy, I tell you, and they come and say, oh, Ross leave because we are in the hurricane belt and all this kind of mashi there. Bahamas in hurricane belt, we. Ross separate themselves, individuals from Ross separate themselves to go and start another school in Bahamas. Bahamas in the hurricane belt, we. Which hurricane that doesn't pass in Bahamas? But they'll tell you things because it sounds nice to say, and you just swallow it because, hey, our experts that say that, Ted Kalbas. Chinese are first-class citizens. I've been hearing this from a number of individuals. Apparently, Chinese seem to be first-class citizens in Dominica. And of course, Dominicans are apparently second-class in our own country, held in place by a police force that looks like us. They don't, it affects them as well. They want raise and they realize they can't get raise. The place that they work in is dilapidated. Look at the roof and this. I even asked them if they're doing agriculture in front of their porch. Hey, that is something else. They look like us, but yet still, you know, they're getting little money. Just like slaves back in the day. Slaves were trying to escape, but instead everybody band together. Other slaves would go and rat out the slaves who were trying to escape, so that he himself, that slave, the informer, can get a little, you know, extra meal by the very people that are oppressing them. Oh, we getting a little funds from the people who are oppressing my people. We're getting a little extra funds. Humans doesn't think properly. You know, I think humans have a problem with thinking, you know, especially in this day and age. Seems like they are dwindling critical thinking in human beings. And as a result, human beings are not thinking properly. They say we are. This stupid ass. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard this outside there, you know. A number of persons think Dominicans are foolish for voting the very same person who keeping them oppressed. A number of persons out there, they wonder if the the IQ level of Dominicans are low. Because man will trade themselves for a few $100s. Man trading their vote for a few $100s to keep themselves oppressed with. And they pay you with your own money. They pay you with your own money to... Oh, that is something else, eh? They pay you with your own money to further keep yourself oppressed. That is something else. The conversation should not be about an international airport, but the occupancy of our villages, cities, businesses, and countries by the Chinese. Apparently, the Chinese look to be taking over. And it's very interesting when you're looking at these guys. I remember even with Kepinski, where two individuals got $30 million and another one got about $9 to $11 million around there, US dollars. And you're thinking about, hey guys, what does Kepinski benefit the people with? It has provided some jobs to a number of persons, true. But on the basis and magnitude of Ross, we let Ross go to let Kepinski come to hire a few people. When Ross was hiring hundreds of people. You don't think that is something that we should have definitely fought for? Interesting. But instead, look at what we're fighting for. The government needs to set up proper payment plans for NEP workers. NEP workers continue to be disgruntled about late payments. The NEP workers are at the bottom of the levels, we brothers and sisters. Bottom of the levels, we brothers and sisters. That's what people fighting for, to be NEP workers, and telling NEP workers, why don't build up the economy for us to do better? Build factories so that the NEP workers can move into something that can actually be a career path for them. Instead of earning a salary, we will be earning living wages. So we're not just going from hand to mouth. We'll have something to at least pass on to your children. Build a little something, get a little better car, something, buy a nice bike. Vroom vroom. Something of that sort. Build your house. Having the ability to then pay your house if you have to take mortgage, and your mortgage is generally about 30-40 years. If you have a good living wage, you can probably pay off your mortgage in 10-15 years on a proper living wage. But no, we are fighting for NEP workers now, brothers and sisters, because that is the state we have reached. And it's interesting that there are different types of NEP workers: teachers, cleaners, labor office. They forget bankers too. Yes, bankers are part of NEP workers, you know. But the bank pays some, and then the NEP people pay the other half. So if they get in a $600 or $700 in the bank, then they pay the other $700. They get $1,400. That is the state that we are in, brothers and sisters. Where we relying on pleading, help the NEP workers. So why government cannot make one payment? Why half getting paid and the others have to wait 4 days? Well, that is because that is the state that people are there, and everybody's staying quiet. You know why? Because they're waiting for somebody else to do the job for them. That is why. What other reason is there? I could be wrong. Let me know. Working overtime in Dominica makes no sense. That's what an individual said. So even if you're not in NEP, you do only got something extra. Even making OT in Dominica doesn't make any sense. Because other things are rising. Gas prices are rising in Dominica. I heard the other day was $15. Now it's $16. While the other countries are less than us. They have a higher wage. They have a higher living atmosphere than Dominica does. Yet still their gas prices is lower. And we have a more poor boy. I don't understand these things there. But then again, the people are allowing this to happen to themselves. But hey, who is me? Mr. Johnson, take away yourself from Scared Fake International Airport. No planning, Gaza. We know no airport coming. I actually met some individuals in St. Lucia. And they were reiterating the same thing for me. Mr. Lex, no airport coming now. Look, they're talking about building extra road. No airport coming, but brothers and sisters, if airport have to come now, look, they talk about boreholes. Boreholes going to take about 3 or 4 years to do. 3 or 4 years to do. And even in that, we don't even know if the airport is if the area is conducive for that. We saw them clearing up some swamp region the other day there. Let me see if I can pull that video for you. This is the video right there, brothers and sisters. Declaring the swamp region. Listen to what this guy have to say. Where is he at?
That's what is taking place down there. Yeah, the swamp is being dug out. All this dust we have to be taken, and no payment. That's it. Just there waiting, don't know when, don't know how long it's gonna take before we get paid. All this work is being done.
When they had protests for Wesley people to come at least get some compensation for the very houses that they haven't gotten paid for, Wesley people didn't show up. They were doing what? I like that picture, you know, guys. All you know, I have to bring only back to the picture. But the picture, look at there. They're waiting for somebody else to plead on their behalf. Wait still. People plead on their behalf still. This so-called airport developer project manager is waffling on about everything and saying absolutely nothing. He's just bludgeoning. Hey guys, we're doing this, and not saying absolutely nothing at all. But that's how the people like it. That's one of the things I don't understand. When they do in the press meet, they have people asking them dull questions that have nothing to do with what the people actually want to know. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the questions are vital, true, but the real questions are not being asked. And everybody cower, you know, I'm afraid to ask. They ask a brilliant question. Who is the owner of the house? The brand big building that is there. Who is the owner of it? Scared get vexed and triggered by that question. Because he knows who's the owner of it. Scary knows who is the owner of it. But, you know. And then he's saying he's baffled by these questions that have been asked. Come from, he's concerned, not baffled. He's concerned about the questions that have been asked, which is a good question to ask. How dare can a government official tell somebody who's a journalist that is responsible for the people, to then say what the people should ask him? Moving along. Sometimes you live in a place and that place just isn't the place for you. That's the very important question right there, guys. Sometimes you grow up in Dominica. Dominica keeps you up. You feel like Dominica is, you know, keeping you down. So you left and you go overseas and you start making things happen. You're not lazy. You work hard and you elevate yourself. Who then do you give homage to? Who then do you say is the one who is responsible for your success today? Do you say Dominica because you came from Dominica? Or do you give homage to the place who actually provided the opportunities for you to elevate? I remember this girl was complaining on Facebook, not necessarily complaining. She left Dominica and went to Canada. And she's pretty much doing the same thing she was doing in Dominica, in Canada. And she's talking about the people who are seeing the talent and skill sets of her abilities. And she elevated very quickly. I think about a year and a half she elevated. Versus working in Dominica for donkey years, she never elevated. For donkey years, she never elevated. Went up there in a year and a half, she working and she elevate. In chat of people why were there even before. not on the basis of prejudice, or not on the basis of pull string, but of simple skill set. They saw your skill set, they saw your talent and your work ethic, and decided to elevate you amongst the others who were probably, lazy or not seeing the opportunities to elevate themselves. I remember this girl. I know her. Left to go Canada and elevating herself. I know a number of persons who are just like that too. Left Dominica in poverty. Right now they are 6 and 7 figure holders. When they come down Dominica, you don't know these things because they're not there out to flash things to you. They elevate themselves when they took the opportunities for which Dominica can definitely have. But it's too sad that we are constantly laissez-faire behind because of our government officials. We just are dragging our feet waiting for something to happen. Hey, my PM will come in for me, my PM will come in for me. No, he's coming in for himself. If by any fact or measure, he's actually on his second mansion, brothers and sisters. And he's giving you a house to stay that you cannot pass on to your children. Where the titles? The titles were passed on now? I don't know. Brothers and sisters. Anyways, if all I said right there, give this video a thumbs up if you understand it. If you want to see more, definitely subscribe and turn on the post notifications so you can get more videos as they tend to come through. Let me know your thoughts, man. Let me know your thoughts on what I stated right there in this reaction. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just, I probably stuck in some kind of, thought process that I need some help. Help me out, brothers and sisters. Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. Right there. I'll see you guys in the next reaction video. Give this video a thumbs up like I said before. And of course, subscribe for more vibrations. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Boom, bang.